Good morning, grade fours. Today for English, you're doing language practice. I know it's 3 pages, but I promise you it's not that much work. And I am working through it with you. So you're not alone. I'm going to go through it with you now. We start on page 75 with our verbs, regular and irregular. So the book says regular verbs change very little when they change from present tense to the past tense or to a past particular. So we just add a D at the end or ED, or we double the last letter and add a ED. So for example, if you say bake, if you put it in the past tense, it will be baked. And knit in the past tense will be knitted. And knit is one of those words that gets the last word twice, the last letter. So the T goes T-T-E-D. Okay. Then irregular verbs change a lot when we change them from present to past. So for example, when you break something in the past, you broke it. So the whole word changes, okay? Or it was broken. So when you go somewhere, you went somewhere and something has gone, okay? When you fly, then the bird flew, the bird has flown, okay? So you can see how those words change drastically, but majority of the words only get an ED or a D at the end, okay? So question 1 says, rewrite this fable in the past tense. Underline all the regular verbs, circle the irregular verbs. So what I want you to do here is please rewrite that whole, it's 2 little paragraphs altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. And all you're going to do there is you're going to read it and underline the regular verbs and circle the irregular verbs, which I'm going to do a few with you first, okay? So it says, a dog finds a bone and carries it home in his mouth. Then he crosses a bridge across a river. So if we look there, finds is a verb because he found something. And as you could hear the minute I put it in past tense, it was found, so changed, so it's a irregular verb. So you will circle it, okay? And carries it home in his mouth. Carries is a verb. And when you put it in past tense, it's carried. So it didn't change drastically. So it's a regular verb, so you underline it. Then it says, then he crosses the bridge across a river. So crosses is the verb. And when you put it in the past tense, it's crossed. So it didn't change drastically. It just got an ED at the end. And the S taken with the last S taken away. And so that is a regular verb, so you underline it. He looked down and sees his reflection in the water beneath. He looked down and saw his reflection in the water beneath. I'm not going to tell you what verbs they are because you can hear whether they changed drastically or they just got an ED at the end, okay? Another dog with a bigger bone, he thinks. He makes up his mind to have that bone too. So, another dog with a bigger bone, he thinks changes to he thought. He makes up his mind to have that bone too. Makes up, he made up his mind to have that bone too. Okay. Oh, sorry, there's more than just 2 paragraphs. I made a mistake. He snaps at the reflection in the water, but as he opens his mouth, the bone falls out, drops into the water, and sinks out of reach. He snapped at the reflection in the water, but as he opened his mouth, the bone fell out and dropped into the water and sunk out of reach. Okay. Then you've just got to, all those verbs are changed. You just need to underline them if they're regular or circle them if you thought they were irregular. Now, you don't need to do question 2 that says write what you think. You only have to do question 1, okay? Then on page 77, we're doing proverbs and idioms. A proverb is a well-known saying that teaches a lesson in life. And an idiom is an expression that have different meanings, okay, of the word itself. So if you look, question 1 says, match the proverbs and their meanings. If the cap fits, wear it. Okay, so if we look at B, we can see it says, problems seldom happen one at a time. I don't think it's that one. B, the more you do something, the better you do it. I don't think it's that one. If you want money, you have to work for it. I don't think it's that one either. And accept what people say about you if it's true. So the correct one is accept what people say about you if it is true. So if someone has something to say about you and you get all cross with them and then they say, well, if the cap fits, wear it. What they're basically saying is you got cross because it's true. Okay. The second one says it never rains, but it pours. So that one is the first one. Problems seldom happen one at a time. When something happens to you, it's never just one thing. If you're having a bad day, it's usually because more than one thing is happening to you. So it never rains, but it pours. So when something bad is happening, it's usually a lot of bad things happening, okay? So problems seldom happen at one time. Okay, one at a time, sorry. Money doesn't grow on trees. So it is, if you want money, you have to work for it. How many times do you say, Mommy, I want this, Mommy, I want that, or Daddy, I want this, I want that, and they say, money doesn't grow on trees. The stuff costs money. So what they're saying is, if you want it, work for it, okay? Practice makes perfect. That one is, the more you do something, the better you get, okay? So remember, when you are just learning to play soccer or netball, and you are not the best at it, but you practice and you practice, practice makes perfect. So the more you do it, the better you get at it, okay? Number 2 says, match the idioms in column A to the meanings in column B. A piece of cake. I'm just going to read through A first and then B, and then we'll answer, okay? A piece of cake, a slap on the wrist, a drop in the bucket. It is Greek to me. Add fuel to the fire. Apple of my eye, icing on the cake. My favorite person, to make matters worse, a small punishment, very little of what we need, even better than you expect. I do not understand it at all. It is easy. So I'm only going to do the first 3 for you. Then I want to see if you can do the others by yourself, okay? Okay, a piece of cake. So what do you think a piece of cake is? So a piece of cake is, it is easy. So normally when someone is doing something, they say, oh no, this was a piece of cake. They're saying, oh, this was easy, okay? So it is easy. So it matches with it is easy. Okay, a slap on the wrist. So it means small punishment. So let's say you're talking the whole time in class and teacher says the whole time, shh, don't make noise, don't make noise, don't do this. And there's no punishment for you. You just got a slap on the wrist and you were allowed to get away with it, okay? So a small punishment. And the last one I'm going to do with you, and then you must do the rest, is a drop in the bucket. So a drop on the bucket means it's very little of what we need. So let's say we're collecting money for an orphanage and you ask me, how is the fundraising going? And I say, the money we've raised is like a drop in a bucket. So what I'm saying, it's very little of what we want or need, okay? Then you're going to do, it's Greek to me, add fuel to the fire, apple of my eye, and icing on the cake. You do not need to draw the tables, okay? For this, what I want you to do is draw the, say the saying. So for number 1, you'll go, if the cap fits, wear it. Then you'll put a little dash and you'd say, accept what people say about you if it's true, okay? And then the same for column B, for number 2. So if you say a piece of cake, you'll say dash, it is easy. Okay, you don't need to draw the table and then connect the lines. Rather just write it out neatly, okay? Then our last one is verbs again, but we're doing finite and non-finite verbs, okay? On page 78. Finite verbs stand on their own, are a main verb in a sentence. Okay, they change according to the subject and tense of the sentence. Example, I walk to school, she walks to school, they walk to school. Okay. So they change according to the subject and the tense of the sentence. A non-finite verb cannot be the main verb in a sentence. Okay. An example of a non-finite verb is underlined in the passage here. Okay. So it says example. He wants to become a musician. So wants is a verb to, and to become is also a verb, okay? So wants is the finite verb, and the non-finite verb is to become. Okay, so then it says the subject and verb must agree. A singular subject gets a singular verb, and a plural subject gets a plural verb.